and welcome back to The Interval. I'm Bob Mack, your host, and today we're going to talk about a genre of American music that's exploded in the past 10 years. It's called Americana. And with me today, the 29ers, Brian Dusenberry and Mike Ballett-Saris. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You guys have been pretty busy in the incarnation of your band. You just came and played 118 North here in Wayne.
Yeah, about a month ago.
And you've been touring around the Mid-Atlantic. You've been around this far south, down around the eastern shore of Maryland, out to the Jersey Shore, and hitting different spots in Philly.
Yeah.
How often do you guys, get to gig and do a gig?
I guess it ranges a little bit. Usually a couple times a month we're playing and trying to rehearse in between there with our buds.
And how long have you guys been playing together?
It's been maybe almost 8-9 years now, I guess.
I think
in different
we've known each other for quite a while. The pandemic, I think, was really the impetus for us getting together, because I was in another band prior to that.
Okay.
A band called Wheelhouse, and a couple of the members during the pandemic had personal situations where they weren't allowed to really go back out into public. Mike and I knew each other. We started, prior to that, we were playing music together in a place that he owned called Waltzing Matilda, which is a store that was in Wayne. And we used to have these really cool nights where it's a really cool store. It had all leather goods, like very interesting things. And part of the fun was we'd go over to his store, drink some bourbon, a little whiskey, and play some music.
And a
bunch of people would come over and play. So that's really when we started playing together.
Yeah, but then through the pandemic, we got a gig in Wayne at Cornerstone, one of the little places there, and they let us pack up the pickup truck, and we just played on the back of it. And so it was, for everybody that was outside having their food outside, and we would pull up and plug in and played. It was sometimes 2 of us, sometimes 4 of us.
Nice.
It was very cool, just backing up there, and people really enjoyed it.
Those outdoor sessions that people get all over.
Yeah.
You were doing that too.
Yeah, it was a mobile,
keeping an eye on the weather. Sometimes we would just freeze to death. Sometimes we'd get rained on. And sometimes it worked out perfect. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cornerstone was really the beginning of the band, where we were just doing some one-off gigs, and then we were invited back, and we actually had, basically a residency either Tuesday or Wednesday nights for the entire pandemic. So we were playing behind the restaurant in an outdoor tented facility, and that's when we really started getting together. It was just the 2 of us. Then we added a guy playing a cajon for a while, so we added a rhythm section. Then the next thing you know, there's a guitar player. So this little place in the back of the restaurant grew from the 2 of us to a full band at some point.
Huh.
And
usually more people in the band than watching.
But it was a lot of fun.
Right.
We had a good time.
Like the Beatles and the Kit Kat Club.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it allowed us to get our chops going, when we got real comfortable with one another. And at that point is when we started to not only do covers, but we started to write some music.
Okay. And so what were the covers you were doing? Like, was that more in the country vein of things?
Yeah,
definitely.
Like John Prine was definitely one of our big influences, I would say. A lot of Merle Haggard and just old country.
Anything with
stuff.
a twang,
Okay.
What's Memphis?
Tom T. Hall.
Tom T. Hall,
Right.
Anybody like that just had really great music. Most of the people in the facilities, in the restaurants, whatever we played in, didn't know any of the songs.
I was going to ask.
But
every once in a while somebody would
Yeah,
come.
they would. It was always great. Somebody drop it, and I can't believe drop a note in the tip jar. I can't believe you guys are playing, that particular song. And we got really great feedback from it, even though they don't necessarily know it around here. This is a classic rock town in a lot of ways. It's been that way.
Right.
But I grew up listening to. I'm from here. I listened to classic rock, so I loved. Always loved, like Skinner and stuff like that. So that's how it sort of transformed. My love for country rock at some point transferred into my love for alternative country. And then I started researching alternative country and trying to figure out where those musicians were inspired. And that's when it turned to, the old school traditional guys. not too far back, mostly 70s country artists that I still love to this day.
Yeah.
And then when we met, we both had that in common, which is kind of rare around here in some ways.
Yeah.
Now, are you guys both from the area?
I am originally. I grew up in Downingtown,
Okay.
and I ended up through a couple of different things. Ended up graduating from Conestoga High School.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
native
So-
local.
Yeah, I was born in Virginia. All my family's from Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay,
So
that's true country.
it is.
He's got
for
the
sure.
roots. He's
Yeah.
got the right to sing this.
But then I moved up. My dad took a job up in Philadelphia when I was in high school, so I moved up here, and then went back for a little bit and kind of just back and forth. But stayed pretty close to, 95 and 40. Depending on how you look at it.
Right. And were you guys playing instruments since you were real little? How did you first get really, passionate about music? And
I think I was always passionate about music from the, I remember the first 45 I bought was Cats in the Cradle. To the Exton Mall, bought that, loved it, Then I became a Kiss fan. I mean, there are all kinds of things, and I just have this strong recollection of being young. My parents bought me my first electric guitar. I think I was 13, and we played Freebird in the garage nonstop. That's all we knew, Freebird, that was it. The neighbors hated us. But it was something that, as a young kid, boy, I always wanted to do.
Yeah, my first recollections are sitting up with my dad and him listening to records. So it was always there. He had Tom Waits and Van Ronk, and then all this unbelievable jazz and blues records.
Yeah.
And I actually have them now that he gave them to me, all the records. So between that and then my uncles were musicians. In fact, I just recently found out that my one uncle is a professional musician, has been for his whole career, but his older brother was a country music singer and wrote a bunch of stuff, and they would constantly go from Knoxville to Nashville to try and pitch the songs, and I guess put a couple of them out. And so it was kind of funny to hear that. I never really put it together.
He's got an old
recently.
cassette tape, right, of these old songs. At one point,
my
we were
uncle,
putting them together and Take Me Drunk, I'm Home.
Yeah, he's got
stuff
some
like
good
that.
ones.
Really good old
That's
country
awesome.
Good old
stuff.
school country.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love that.
really good.
Now, Mike, how did you get an instrument in your hands? Did you just seek it out, or did put it?
My dad loved
What's going on?
music. He never really played, but it was definitely constantly going on. And my uncle, when he would come visit, had a guitar, and he's the one that actually taught me first couple of chords, and that was I guess junior high. I really loved it, but never picked it up. And it wasn't until I got to college, my roommate played at one of the bars along the main line here, and so I would go in and watch him and watch what chords he was doing and go home, and we had old electric guitar but no amp, so I'd be able to play it all night and just do that, and he was really instrumental in helping me kind of get the sound down and do that.
That was Brian Seymour too. So Brian is a musician who's around here. You should talk to him one of these days.
Yeah, good guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So
Got
yeah,
a new
so-
record out too.
Cool.
Yeah, you're lucky. You had parents that taught you good music. Your dad, especially.
Right.
My dad listened to Perry Como. Kingston Trio was about as far,
Right.
kind of
Right.
crazy he went. Big
Probably
bands.
hated it when you were young. Now that you're older, you're like, all right, this
Yeah, some of it. I don't know
Yeah.
about that Perry Como stuff, but no.
Right.
I should listen to it more to make a better decision. But
that's fair.
yeah, I had to learn it for myself.
Right.
Just had buddies in the neighborhood.
So you were doing your own thing to 8, 9, 10 years ago, and then were you, Brian, into just country or roots,
Yeah.
or just classic Southern rock, and then somehow you got this bug to go more towards the country side?
My
of things?
musical tastes have evolved over the years,
Sure.
and it eventually evolved into alt country.
Okay.
So that genre, which is based, in country music, but
Little
with a kind of
edgier,
edgier
rockier.
rock, Uncle
Yeah.
Tupelo and Sunvolt, just to name a few.
Right.
But yeah, so I was really interested in that. I found myself in my, it was late 30s, maybe early 40s. This is after years and years. I'm thinking, I'd love to do something with music. I've always wanted to do more, advertise myself on Craigslist. And through various people that I met along the line, eventually started this other band called Wheelhouse. And my love for this type of music started out, we played a lot more alternative country. And by the time we were done, we were like full on playing country music. You know, 70s style country music, traditional country.
Right.
Don't really know too many country tunes that they play on the radio. I never have. It's always been those
The older
older guys, Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard,
right,
that sort of thing.
Now, how did you guys connect?
I had this store where I made a bunch of handmade leather goods.
Okay.
And it was in Wayne, and
It was the Wayne Music Fest, and he has an Airstream, a 57 Tradewind, right, 57. And he had parked it right in the middle of North Wayne Avenue.
Okay.
And was selling these leather goods out of the Airstream. So I was like, this thing's cool. Let me go check this out. And there's this guy standing in there selling his stuff and bracelets, things like that. We started talking. He says, I have the store right over here on West Avenue called Waltzing Matilda. I was like, all right. So eventually I checked it out. Really liked it. A couple of guys were hanging out. I remember Kevin was hanging out in it one day, and I was like, look at this guy's got a store and people are hanging. Then I went back a couple times, bought a couple of things, and then we sort of connected.
we started doing that kind of after work.
Yeah, it was really the after work kind of thing that we.
And people would come over, bring their guitars, and kind of do that. And
Yeah,
again, that
jam
kind of morphed into.
sessions.
Got a lot of people the first time, fewer the next, and then pretty much it was just me and him.
Okay.
So
That's true.
So we started, and I had a couple of songs that I had written the lyrics to, and I was, get comfortable enough to play a couple of those, and Brian would like them, and we tweaked them around a little bit, and that's really how that.
Yeah.
The original stuff got started that way.
Perfect.
But the other thing though is besides music, we both love riding mountain bikes. So that's the thing. So we started doing a lot more of that than we did really writing
Yeah, that's
music. But during that period, we started talking. We should start a band. Let's do something. Maybe we can get a little gig here and there, play for fun, whatever. And then we said, what are we going to call the band? And we're riding mountain bikes, and the style of mountain bike that we ride is called a 29er, which is the circumference of the wheel.
Okay, thank you for
So
thank you for solving this mystery. Yeah. So this is good.
So we just happened to be, I don't remember who suggested it. I'm like, how about the 29ers? And I'm like, riding down the trail. Yeah, sounds good. That was it.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah.
And we've often been asked about that.
We have
And
different
stories have
depending on
come
different
up
time of
over
day.
yeah. So this guy came up to me one time, and he's in the construction trade, and he goes, 29er, you guys are 29ers. He goes, and we explained what it was about. He said, that's not what it is. It's a guy, in my business, what happens is when you're supposed to be there at 7:30 in the morning, the guy shows up at 7:29, he's a 29er. It's like he's just coming in hot kind of person. Oh, don't worry, he's a 29er, he'll be here. So I kind of like that one, but the reality is we just rode riding bikes one day.
So the collaboration gets formed, and you guys start writing songs, and you have a full album.
Yes.
Or
it's called Old
more than
Machines.
Old Machines.
Yep.
A friend of ours, Derek Chafin, is the Barn Studio in Chester Springs. I think as far as the Old Machines, we spent so much time on those songs that I feel like that they're pretty well baked. We have a drummer who is, his other band is Rhythm Nation, his reggae band, like a legit reggae band. Our bass player is in rockabilly and reggae bands and alt country. Dave's in a Ronstadt tribute band and big time rock and roll type band. So it's great having all and they're great players, all of them. I feel like it's going to be a very different record. I'm excited about it. It's not like a complete departure from where we were.
Yeah, probably a little less of a country influence, a little bit more blues and soul, and just the ability to sing one of your own songs. I don't have, in the back of my head that I need to sound like Merle Haggard, sing a Merle Haggard song. It's like, it sounds like me, and I actually said, it's amazing, and I really love it.
Are you cool with being in this Americana genre?
Yeah.
And where's the genre going? Is it becoming a really mainstream thing, or is it just it's just sort of like
to me, it's
a catch-all?
Well, to me, it's like I feel like it's getting more broad of an audience.
There are definitely breakthrough artists.
Well, Jason Isbell, right?
Jason
Isbell,
Isbell, Tyler Childers, like those.
Zach Bryan right now is huge. That guy, and he's writing really good music.
Who do you see really driving the Americana genre. I mean, Dan Reed locally of
Oh,
XPN.
for sure.
Yeah,
you guys
Dan's
were on.
been-
You've been featured. Your music.
Yeah, and he's been great. Really been, as I said, that was one of the high points of, putting that record out, was having a couple of our songs put on XPN. I mean, I think of XPN still as the gold standard for that kind of our kind of music.
That gets you national exposure too, which is kind of
Yeah, I mean,
right?
It does.
Yeah.
You would think our numbers would just like go through the roof.
You know what though? I mean, to me, I love the feeling of that.
not so much.
It was, that was a very much of a, like I said, all right, I got a lot of gratification myself out of that.
Me too, totally. You talk about bucket list kind of stuff. As a kid growing up, one of these days I'm going to be on a record. We did that, right? And then one of these days I'm going to be on the radio. And it's totally cool. So we're very excited about it. I think we got local artists of the day on XPN2.
That's something that was.
Yeah, we've got a song that's called Rita that Mike was really pushing. I was like, I don't know, man, this doesn't really quite sound like some of the other things we're doing. And I remember you were like, Derek's gonna love it, he'll this and that, and it turned out to be, the hit.
All right.
So to
7
speak.
people listen to it. All 7 of them liked it.
Yes, so we want more people, please listen to this
Congratulations,
record.
that's
Old
fantastic.
Machines.
Does the Airstream ever come back into your life?
We do Airstream sessions out of there, so we'll sit down at 118 and have a beer with Kenny over there and listen to the bands that are warming up, and if they are so inclined, we'll have them run over to the house and play a couple tunes and then get back before their set. So it's been really fun.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a great thing. We have it's called the 29ers Airstream Sessions.
Okay.
So it's actually a YouTube channel that we were hot and heavy. We haven't done a few for a while, but we're planning on picking that back up. And so any artists out there, if you're interested, please let us know.
And we want you to do a couple interviews out of there.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great collaboration somehow.
Thrilled
Work
to do
that out.
Yeah.
But it's a great, it's an environment. People just love it when it's dusk out and there's a candle burning in there. It just has a vibe that you can't deny. The acoustics are killer. So we just basically do acoustic sets inside of it.
Okay.
Film it. I do the editing, and so far so
pretty
good.
basic,
We've had
yeah.
some good stuff.
All right.
And we've had local artists, and then what Mike was talking about, we're at 118, we heard these guys do actually, we heard that their sound check was amazing, and I saw them walk by and invited them over. It turned out to be this group of Australian guys named Sons of the East. And I looked them up. I said, well, you guys must be kind of popular. You're coming over to the States. I looked them up. They have millions, like on their Spotify, 2.5 million followers. These guys play big arenas, but they come to the States. They happen to be there. But we invited them. We had a fire going. We fed them a little tequila.
It was funny.
It was
actually,
so cool, man. These
They
guys.
figured out we were only like a block and a half from the venue, so it was dark, so I walked out front of my house to look for, make sure they knew where to come, and I could hear them. They were just walking up the street, playing, practicing. They're playing,
singing songs in America. Coming first time.
so it was really fun. We stayed, hung out so long. They loved being by a fire because they'd been in hotels forever. So we were hanging out, just talking for a long time, and realized they were totally late for the gig. So.
Yeah.
I threw them in the back of my truck, and they were singing songs on the way down.
We sang John Prine songs on the way back to the venue.
Yeah, it was funny. It was a really funny night.
I was just down in Nashville for the Americana Music Festival probably a month ago, and they were one of the artists. So it was good. It was good to catch
They
up
knew
with them.
you.
Yeah,
That's
it's awesome.
That's very fun.
That's cool.
You have a lot going on. What's coming up next?
We're starting to go to the studio. I think January we decided for the new record, and we have about 15 songs. We'll knock those down to 8 or 9 that we think are the best, and then we're playing. We have a couple residencies. We're playing at 118 quite a bit, in Wayne in the new year, and the Briquette in Westchester.
You know the Briquette Lounge?
I know of the Briquette.
It's a fun honky tonk.
honky-tonk.
The only honky tonk now. It's a great spot.
I gotta check it out.
We love it.
And then we mix in, wherever we can. We'll do some stuff down at the beach. We'll do some stuff, hopefully go up to New York, do some stuff up in North Jersey. And
We do weddings. We do anything. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
That's great.
Whatever you want to do.
Well, I've just been thrilled to have you here. Your stories are fascinating. Your journey is just awesome, and it's so cool that it's going to continue for as long as you guys can tell.
Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate it very much.
So check out the 29ers, first chance you get, and if you go on the YouTube, take a look at the Airstream Sessions channel. Really cool episodes of live music being played in the inside of a small Airstream type AirV tape trailer. Really cool. Thanks for watching.